Welcome everyone. This is January the 7th in 2025, and this meeting is for us to do an I Ching reading about the year of the wood snake. Before we do the I Ching reading, I want to go over some particulars of the year with you, and then we're going to do the I Ching reading. 2025 is the Chinese year of the snake, but every year comes with a sign and also an element. The sign is the animal sign, in this case, the snake, and the element is wood. Now, in our Western culture, we have the elements, we have air, fire, earth, and water. In the Chinese system, we have 5 elements, and those are water, wood, fire, earth, and metal. And so the wood element is a little bit similar to the air element in the Western system, but you can't really compare them directly. They're not equivalent to each other because they're different systems. And so in our Western system of the elements that we use in our zodiacal astrology, you have air, air above is the most intangible thing. As it becomes a little bit more material, you get fire, then you get water, and then you get earth. The elements go from the less material to the most material, from air to the earth, right? But in the Chinese system, it's a circular relationship where water feeds wood, wood feeds fire. Fire, when it's done burning, produces ashes, which are earth. Earth yields metals, and metals contain water. You must not think about the wood element as the plank of wood or the wooden piece of furniture or the wooden floors that you have on your homes or the wooden frame that was used to build your house. You think of the wood element as being in the woods. So it's not wood, it's more like the woods element, right? So the live plant, the live tree, the living, healthy, thriving forest, that is what represents the wood elements. The Chinese Year of the Wood Snake 2025, right, is starting on the 29th of January. And I want to show you here, this is my cure that I have designed with my friend Bill Austin, who is a vibrational healer. So this is a photo wall tile. It's 8 by 8 inches and is unframed. And so we have here, what you see in the background is the vibrational healing image that artist, healer Bill Austin created. I drew the snake, and so it has healing energies for the snake and healing energies for the element. And if you see in this corner, there's the Chinese character for the wood element. So that you can find on this page too. In 2025, it's auspicious or of good omen for you to keep a representation of the wood snake in your home. And the best places are the foyer or the hallway. So the foyer, the entrance of your home, the main entrance, not the entrance that you come in through the garage or the back door, the main entrance, the most important entrance of your home. The foyer, that's where you would put your snake. Or you can also put it on any hallway. Those are the recommended places, right? And so we have in our store, we have Feng Shui cures for all the 12 animals of the Chinese horoscope. On this page, there's an explanation of the myth. It started when the Jade Emperor called all the animals in the kingdom to come over, and the first 12 animals to arrive, they got a year assigned to them. So there's 12 animals and there's cycles of 12 years. Now, I just want to call your attention to number 6. The snake was number 6. And it was 6 only because it had coiled itself around the horse's hoof and sprang up before it as the horse was arriving at the palace. So the horse became the 7th animal. So the animals had to cross a very fast-flowing river. And to do that, the snake coiled itself on the hind leg of the horse, went through the river with the horse, stayed on the horse until the horse got to the emperor. And then as they were arriving, the snake went in front of the horse, right? So this is important to understand the year. The snake is a very respected sign in the Chinese horoscope because it represents wisdom, spiritual development, and people born in the year of the snake are believed to be studious and dedicated to knowledge. The snake is known for being drawn to the good things in life, luxury, the high life, and they are also distrustful by nature. Back and forth reciprocity is very important for the year of the snake. The snake can be very generous, but they always expect something back. It's never just unconditional generosity with no strings attached. There's always going to be strings attached, right? So the wood snake in particular, right? Because remember I told you the wood element is the wood element. And you are talking about the energy of the wind. The wood element is connected to the wind. So think of it as a winged snake. So it's the plumed or winged snake, which is a creature from mythology. So this is what is really super special about the year of the wood snake, as opposed to any year of the snake, right? The wood snake is a winged snake, is a plumed snake. And it is a representation of wisdom, is associated to benevolence. The wood snake, again, is the plumed or winged snake, is a creature from mythology. The wood element is associated with the wind, and the wind is seen as a messenger from heaven. In many cultures around the world, this type of snake appears in the midst of beings who arrive to teach people about building technology, agriculture, and law. The wood snake is that snake that frequently appears to people when taking hallucinogenic plants and going on shamanic trips. So if you ever met somebody that did ayahuasca or mushrooms, it's very common for people who have gone in these kinds of shamanic trips to encounter a snake in their visions. It is a reminder to pay attention to the deep motives and the undercurrents of all events. The wood snake reminds you to ask these 3 questions. At anything that you're looking at, the first question you're going to ask is, who's behind this? Second, who benefits from this? So follow the money. And third, what is the ultimate goal? So don't take things at face value. Always ask this question: who's behind this? Who benefits from this? And what's the ultimate goal? Because in the year of the snake, there's always going to be missing information, and there's always going to be ulterior motives. The snake sign in the Chinese horoscope represents luxury, knowledge, and advantage. Remember that the snake was ceased to arrive at the Jade Emperor's palace only because it took advantage of the horse. So I want to point out certain things about the snake, how we perceive it in Western culture, and also how it is perceived in indigenous Latin American culture. So first, let's go with Western culture. The Eastern view of this reptile is in contrast with the Western culture symbolism of the snake being a representation of evil. Many scholars believe that the snake was chosen as a symbol of the devil in Jewish culture precisely because it was so difficult to eradicate the sacred offerings that women made to the snake as the Egyptian goddess of fertility. In our Western culture, to this day, the symbol of medicine, the caduceus, is represented as a short staff entwined by 2 snakes, like you can see here in this picture, right? Many people are baffled that snakes, which are feared around the world for their poisonous bite, are used as a symbol of healing. However, the people of ancient Mediterranean culture saw it as a symbol of health and healing because it could shed its skin and regenerate. In modern times, some people see the coiling 2 snakes as a symbol for the double helix of our DNA. And in yoga culture, some say the snake represents the Kundalini, a spiritual energy coiled at the base of the spine, which through practice can be made to spiral up the center of the body to the crown chakra at the top of your head and connect with divine energy. So we're going to come back to this because this is very important in how the energy of the wood snake is going to be presented in the West. And also, I wanted to share with you about the snake in indigenous Latin American culture. So in the indigenous cultures of Mexico and Central America, snakes are associated with the rain and the wind. Their god Quetzalcoatl, the plumed serpent, symbolizes the connection between the spiritual world and the earthly world. This god is believed to bring gifts of knowledge. For the indigenous people of the Andes Mountains, they consider snakes are sacred as they represent the underworld, deep wisdom, renewal, and transformation. Their name for snake is Amaru, and they call the American continent Amaruca, land of the serpent, in reference to the mountain chain that goes from Alaska to the southern tip of South America close to the Pacific coast. If you see the picture of the American continent, the South America, Central America, and North America, there's a mountain chain along the Pacific coast on South America, then there's a smaller chain in Central America, and then a larger chain close to the Pacific coast in North America, right? And so this is believed to be a snake of energy that goes up the whole continent. So for the people of the Andes Mountains, I'm originally from Ecuador in South America, right over here, which is on the equatorial line. So for the people of the Andes Mountains, they believed that this snake energy that goes throughout the whole continent is what gives the soul to the continent. And so this is going to also be important this year as you look at the energies. The caduceus is a short staff that you have here in the center, and then you have the snakes coiling around it, right? So in terms of politics in a worldwide sense, you can think of the status quo as the staff in the center. That's the status quo. That's what things are like. And the coiled serpents going around it, they're of two different kinds, right? So what I'm seeing right now from the analysis that I made, one of these snakes is people around the world who don't have full power but have some power. So for example, this can be people that have a lot of money but don't have any political power, and they desperately want to have political power. And on the other side are people who are starting to see through the veil, and they are not happy that they're being lied to. The people who are into conspiracy theories, right? And just because something is a conspiracy theory, it doesn't mean that it's not happening, right? And so some things are happening, and there's a lot that in the past has been kept hidden from the population. And now a lot of people are like, we want transparency. We want to see what things actually are like. We want to be told things. We don't want to be treated like children. So these are the two powers that are coiling around what is considered right now the status quo. So there could be people who have money and no political power, or it could be people that have military power, but they don't have international recognition. And on the other side is the people who want to be told the truth, the people who want to know what's actually going on. They don't want to just be told a version of the truth. They want the whole truth. So these are the forces that are coming into the year of the snake, right? So how these forces interact with each other is going to determine a lot about what is going on with the year. So the thing that I'm seeing regarding the Amaruca, remember the land of the serpent, Amaru is the snake that coils up the Pacific coast of South America with the mountain chains. So what this means is that we're probably going to see a resurgence of Latin America. And this could be that in general, I don't know if you know this, but after COVID, the economy of Latin American countries has been constantly contracting. So it may be that it finally stops contracting and it starts expanding and growing again. So it could be something that happens for the whole continent. But it can also be something that happens in the sense that some country emerges as the leader of Latin America. And we're seeing really interesting things happening in Mexico. The president of Mexico, who is a woman, seems to be doing a lot of interesting things. And I really like the way she's communicating with the Mexican people. So if you understand Spanish, or if you find some account that translates her speeches, I recommend that you follow her. So it could also be something that happens with Hispanic people in the United States. In the political climate right now, there seems to be some antagonism towards Hispanic people in the United States. And so it may be something that happens around that. But it could also mean that in general, shamanism has an uptick in the year of the snake. So it may be that the shamanic practices come to the forefront, or that some of the shamans of Latin America start becoming more famous and influencing the world at large. An interesting piece of information that you might not know is that shamanism, as it presents in North America, Central America, and South America, has the same roots as Feng Shui. So those are the things I wanted to share with you as we ask the I Ching about the year in particular. For those of you who don't know, the I Ching is the Chinese book of changes. It's not an oracle in the way that tarot would be an oracle or the runes would be an oracle. The I Ching basically tells you how you got here and what are your choices. What are the different kinds of futures you can choose from this point? Because in Feng Shui, we believe that you can choose your future among all the possible futures. We're going to ask the Creator, let us know what is most important for us to know in the year 2025, year of the wood snake. And I always like to add to my request to the I Ching from highest source for highest good. Got hexagram 48, which is the well. Deep waters penetrated and drawn to the surface. The superior person refreshes the people with constant encouragement to help one another. Encampments, settlements, walled cities. I think this refers to the new administration coming into the United States, because there has been talk about, doing mass deportations and putting people into encampments. That's the exact word that they have used. Settlements, walled cities. We also know that the administration is big on the wall, right, to control immigration. So whole empires may rise and fall, yet the well at the center endures. It's probably a warning that the standing of the United States in the world is going to change, that the balance of power in the world may change. Yet the well at the center endures, never drying to dust, never overflowing. So what I see here for the United States, right? There's a vision that the United States was founded on, and that vision is going to endure regardless of who is in power. That's how I'm interpreting this. It served those before and it will serve those after. So this is kind of telling you whatever is going to happen in this year is not permanent, it's temporary. And it's not going to have effects that are long lasting. Again and again, you may draw from the well, but if the bucket breaks or the rope is too short, there will be misfortune. So this is also a warning to using resources wisely. And this may be a warning for everybody to be more mindful with expenses, especially be careful to not exhaust your savings. It's important that you not exhaust your savings. Going back to the hexagram lines, right? The water in this old well has seeped into the mud. Not even the animals come to drink from it. So this speaks about contamination. When there's contamination, it's a problem for everybody. And then the other changing line is saying shooting at fish in the well puts holes in the bucket. No one can draw from this well. So here is another warning. This would be to overspending, spending more than what you're making. One very important thing when working with the symbolism of the well is to know that the well has to be protected. If a well is well managed, you can always keep drawing from it. It doesn't get exhausted, it doesn't get dirty, right? Now let's look at the situation analysis. There is a source common to us all. This is a reminder that whatever people are doing at a global level, there is a force that is greater than that. The collective unconscious, that is the way humanity wants to go. Humanity has a destiny. Humanity is going somewhere. And that somewhere is not going to be affected permanently by the things that different governments or countries do at any given time. Inside each of us are dreamlike symbols and archetypes, emotions, and instincts that we share with every other human being. This, again, is an insistence that we need to look for the things that we have in common instead of constantly looking for the things that divide us. Some people are trying to separate nations or separate the people by race or by ethnicity or by country of origin or by social class, social status, or even by political affiliation, right? Like right now, some people are like, I'm never going to talk to you again because of the way you voted. These separations, they're all kind of cosmetic. The things that are most important to us, the things that all humanity has in common, the things that all humanity aspires to, are good things that unite us all. So the way to deal with this year, the way to navigate this year, is for us to look for the commonality. Instead of looking for the superficial differences, look for the commonality. What do we have in common? Where do we want to get together, right? When we feel a lonely separateness from others, it is not because this well within has dried up, but because we have lost the means to reach its water. So every well, no matter how deep it is, that well is connected to subterranean waters, right? It's not usually just isolated. There's connections underground, and we need to tap into those connections and feel that. You need to reclaim the tools necessary to penetrate to the depths of your fellows. Then the bonds you build will be as timeless and inexhaustible as the well that nourishes them. So here is some advice on how to interact with people that you feel separate from. You need the tools necessary to penetrate to the depths of your fellows. So go to what's deeper, right? So don't just go to what the person is saying. Don't just go to what they believe in terms of science or what they believe in terms of history or what they believe in terms of politics. And try and go deeper. And I think in many cases, it's important to ask why. If a person is saying something, why? What is the fear? What is the emotion underlying that expression? Then the bonds you build will be as timeless and inexhaustible as the well that nourishes them. So we're going to look at the image, water over wood, the image of the well. Thus, the superior man or superior person encourages the people at their work and exhorts them to help one another. The trigram sun, wood, is below, and the trigram kan, water, is above. Wood sucks water upward, just as wood as an organism imitates the action of the well, which benefits all parts of the plant. The superior person organizes human society so that, as in a plant organism, its parts cooperate for the benefit of the whole. Wood sucking water upward, that means investments. So what the I Ching is saying is the year of the snake is a good year for investments. And especially look for investments that cater to the highest good, not just investments that you're thinking, oh, this would be a good investment for me, but investments that would be a good investment for the earth and a good investment for future generations. I'm going to ask a second question of the I Ching, and this question is going to be, how do we best navigate the year of the wood snake from highest source for highest good? We got 47, which is exhaustion. A dead sea is water spent eons ago, more deadly than the desert surrounding it. The superior person will stake their life and fortune on what they deeply believe. Triumph belongs to those who endure. Trial and tribulation can hone exceptional character to a razor edge that slices deftly through every challenge. Action prevails where words will fail. The I Ching is saying the way to navigate this year is to stick to your beliefs. What do you believe is true? What do you believe is right? If you act in integrity, you're going to be okay. Triumph belongs to those who endure. Trial and tribulation can hone exceptional character to a razor edge that slices deftly through every challenge. Action prevails where words will fail. And so the I Ching is also saying that you need to work on your character, work on your integrity, and have your integrity be that defining factor. When you're struggling to make a decision, you need to measure that against what it is you believe to be true and right. This is the realm of the shaman. You have exhausted every alternative, spent yourself completely, taxed body and mind beyond your former limits. Survival and salvation lie beyond your reach now. Only transcendence to a new existence, a higher plane of being, will see you through. The old you is just a dry husk. You can return to it. Metamorphosis is the only grace offered. You can only return to your homeland as a new you. This is very interesting and synchronistic, because what this is speaking of is what the snake does in shedding the old skin, right? The snake sheds the old skin, grows, and goes through life in a new skin. So survival and salvation lie beyond your reach now. This is for when you feel like, okay, there's nothing I can do, and I feel just so overwhelmed and I don't know what we're going to do, right? Only transcendence to a new existence, a higher plane of being, will see you through. So that is like the shedding the old skin. You see that? The old you is just a dry husk. You can return to it. Metamorphosis is the only grace offered. You can only return to your homeland as a new you. So the year of the snake is a year to transcend who you have been. So the idea is for you to start embracing and embodying a better version of you, a new version of you that is a better version of you. And this means to not let your fears guide you, to not let your negative emotions guide you. And so whenever you feel overwhelmed, and people are going to feel overwhelmed when they watch the news, it doesn't matter how you are aligned politically. This year, there are going to be things that upset you. You're going to be upset, and that sometimes you're going to feel overwhelmed, and you're going to start thinking, okay, what is the point of even doing this? When you feel like that, the I Ching is saying, what it will mean is that the tools that you have developed until now are not enough for the present circumstances or the present situation. So what you need to do is that you need to become a new version of you. You need to transcend who you have been. And that is in that transcendence, in that new version of you, that is where you're going to find the tools that are actually going to allow you to deal with the things that you need to deal with. Does that make sense? think about the way a snake moves. The way the snake moves, it slides from left to right. So if you see the snake is going from one side to the other. And that is the only way the snake can move. The snake, in order to move forward, has to go from left to right. What this means in the year of the wood snake in terms of politics is that you are going to see, if this is the center, and here you have the left, and then you have the right. So think about this in politics, think of this about countries, right? The only way for the snake to advance is to go from side to side. And so you're going to see that in order to get things done, people on the left are going to have to go to the right, and people on the right are going to have to go to the left. The only way to advance in the year of the snake is to consider both sides and to smoothly be able to go into one side, come back to the other side, and keep doing that and moving forward. So what the smooth motion of the snake does for a person, for an organization, for a country, is that it allows you to look at both sides of everything, and it allows you to consider how you might benefit everybody as you move along. So that's a very important characteristic of the year of the snake. So politically, what this means in this year is that people are going to make alliances that are going to be very surprising. And so you might see a person that you have followed and make an alliance with a person that you can stand. And you're going to feel kind of betrayed, and you're going to feel tempted to call that person a traitor because of the way things are moving, right? But if you don't do this back and forth from left to right, there's not going to be any movement forward. And so it doesn't matter who you follow, it doesn't matter who you voted for, it doesn't matter what country you live in, you are going to see this. You're only going to be able to move forward if you're making this effort to go from side to side and to do it smoothly. So you can look at the other side and you can make decisions and move forward. So that's going to be a very important part of this year. When I'm doing the analysis of the year, I'm looking at the energies. And those energies may present in one way or may present in another way, right? For example, when I'm seeing there's a resurgence of Latin America because the plumed snake is a symbol of Latin America. And because they had a prophecy 500 years ago that in 500 years there would be a resurgence of the wisdom of the shamans, right? And so this may express as an uptick financially, economically. It could be important changes, like significant changes in one or more than one country in Latin America. But it may also mean that the way of thinking of the shaman becomes more mainstream, right? And so there's a tendency this year to unite the American continent as separate from the rest of the world. That is what I'm seeing. And there's in the rest of the world, what I am seeing also that alliances are going to change. The way that the world has kind of been organized since World War II, that is going to change. This is a year where things can change smoothly. But remember that whatever happens, you shouldn't take what happens at face value. You always need to ask the question, who's behind this? Who benefits, and what is the underlying goal? And so one thing that I didn't see in my analysis of the year is I didn't see a recession. I'm not saying, I'm completely 100% sure that a recession is not going to happen. But when I finished last year, my analysis of the year of the dragon, it seemed to me that the year of the snake was going to bring a recession. But once I analyzed the plumed serpent, the wood serpent, not just the snake, but the wooden aspect of the element, which comes with benevolence, right? When I analyze it that way, I didn't quite see a recession. It's possible I could be wrong, but I'm not seeing it right now. The main thing that I saw this year is there's going to be a weakening of the status quo. There's going to be unlikely alliances. And there's these two powers that I was mentioning that are going to be kind of in opposition with each other, which is the people who have some kind of power, but not all the power, and they want to have more power. And also the people who are just like, we want the truth, and because they want the truth, they have been getting into conspiracy theories. The people on the one side, the ones that want more power, are using conspiracy theories to try and get support from the other group, if that makes sense. And so that is a very interesting thing that is happening right now.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for coming over and being with me while I did this reading to complement my previous analysis of 2025, the year of the wood snake.